We live in an age where perfection is glorified, where social media showcases curated highlights that make us question our own lives. We see flawless images and success stories, and we start to believe that who we are and what we have isn't good enough. We chase standards set by others, hoping that by reaching them, we'll finally feel worthy. But here's the truth: comparison is the thief of joy. When we compare our behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel, we forget that every journey is unique. We are all on different paths with different challenges and triumphs. What makes you valuable isn't how you measure up to someone else, but how you embrace your own story. Success and happiness are not defined by titles, possessions, or likes on social media. They are found in living authentically, in staying true to your values and passions. You don't need to fit a mold to be worthy. You are enough simply by being yourself. It's okay to have flaws, to make mistakes, to be imperfect. In fact, it's our imperfections that make us beautifully human. Embracing them is an act of courage, a declaration that our worth isn't tied to our achievements, but to our existence. However, I know that negative self-talk can be a persistent enemy. Thoughts that whisper, "I'm not smart enough," "I'm not good enough," or "I don't deserve happiness." But these are lies. You are deserving of love, joy, and fulfillment, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. One powerful way to counter these thoughts is by practicing self-compassion and surrounding yourself with people who uplift and support you. Seek out those who see your light even on your darkest days. Together, we can create a community that celebrates authenticity over perfection. Today, I invite you to release the need for approval, to let go of the pressures of perfection, and to embrace who you are, fully and unapologetically. Stand tall in your truth, knowing that you are enough, not because of what you do or how you look, but because you are here, and that is more than enough. We live in a world where it's easy to feel like we're not enough. We're constantly bombarded with messages telling us we need to be more successful, more attractive, more accomplished. Society often creates an illusion that there's a perfect version of ourselves that we should be striving for, and in that chase we lose sight of one simple, undeniable truth. You are enough, just as you are. The importance of self-worth cannot be overstated. It's the foundation upon which everything else in life is built. When we recognize our inherent value, we stop searching for validation outside of ourselves and begin to embrace our unique qualities, flaws, and strengths. Embracing your authentic self doesn't mean you have to change who you are. It means accepting who you are right now in this very moment. Your worth is not defined by the number of accomplishments you rack up or how others perceive you. It is rooted in the simple fact that you exist, and that alone makes you invaluable. True strength lies in embracing yourself fully, without comparison or judgment. When you accept your own worth, you free yourself from the burden of constantly trying to measure up to someone else's standards. Today, I want to remind you that the power to live confidently and authentically is already inside of you. You are not defined by your shortcomings, your mistakes, or the pressure to conform. You are defined by your authenticity, by how you choose to show up in the world and honor the person you truly are. In today's world, the pressure to be perfect is more prevalent than ever. We are constantly exposed to a curated version of reality, whether through social media, advertisements, or even the expectations set by family and friends. These platforms highlight what society deems as the ideal: the perfect body, the perfect career, the perfect life. And over time, we begin to internalize these ideals, believing that they define our worth. But here's the catch: perfection is a myth. It's a fleeting, unrealistic concept that doesn't exist in reality. No one's life is perfect. No one's journey is without struggle. and no one's story is without flaws. Yet, we often hold ourselves to these impossible standards, thinking that if we don't measure up, we're somehow failing. This constant striving for perfection can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. When we place our value in meeting these societal expectations, we lose touch with who we truly are. We forget that the pursuit of perfection isn't about self-improvement. It's about chasing an unattainable ideal that only leaves us feeling unworthy when we inevitably fall short. We compare our behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel, not realizing that every individual is on their own unique path, facing challenges and triumphs that we might not even see. The pressure to be perfect can be suffocating. We feel like we need to be everything to everyone, to prove our worth by how we look, what we achieve, and how we're perceived. But when we try to live up to others' expectations, we lose sight of our own desires, our own values, and ultimately, our own happiness. The truth is, you don't need to be perfect to be worthy of love, respect, and success. You simply need to be yourself. One of the most harmful habits we can cultivate in our lives is comparing ourselves to others. It's so easy to fall into the trap of looking at someone else's achievements, their relationships, their appearance, or their lifestyle, and thinking, why don't I have that? Or why am I not like them? We all do it from time to time, but the danger lies in how we allow those comparisons to affect our self-worth. The truth is, comparison is the thief of joy. Every time we measure our own lives against someone else's, we steal away the opportunity to appreciate our unique journey. What we often forget is that we are all on different paths with different struggles, strengths, and experiences. What someone else has achieved or experienced doesn't take away from the value of your own journey. You are not in competition with anyone but yourself. When we compare ourselves to others, we create an illusion that there's only one way to be successful or worthy. We diminish our own self-ballot by measuring it against a standard that isn't ours to follow. Just because someone else's story looks different, or because they've accomplished something we haven't, it doesn't mean that our story is any less important or meaningful. What's more, these comparisons often come with a built-in bias. Our view of others is rarely a full, unfiltered picture of their lives. We see their highlight reels, the polished moments, the carefully crafted versions of themselves they choose to share. What we don't see are their struggles, their challenges, or the hard work that went into their successes. So, in essence, we're comparing our behind the scenes with someone else's best moments. This leads to unnecessary self-doubt, feelings of inadequacy, and a distorted sense of our own worth. But if we stop comparing and start celebrating our own individuality, we can begin to recognize the incredible value we bring to the world simply by being ourselves. For far too long, we've been taught to measure success by external markers, titles, achievements, material wealth, and the approval of others. These traditional definitions of success often leave us feeling empty, constantly striving for something more, yet never feeling truly fulfilled. But what if we refine success not by society's standards, but by our own values and passions? True success is not about what others think of you, but about how you feel about yourself. It's not about having the biggest house or the most followers on social media. True success comes from aligning your life with what truly matters to you, your values, your passions, and your purpose. Take a moment to think about what brings you joy, what gives you a sense of fulfillment. Is it spending time with family? Is it helping others? Is it creating, learning, or simply being present in the moment? These are the things that truly define success. When you base your life on your own values, you create a sense of happiness that's authentic and deeply rooted in who you are. We are often taught to chase after things that give us external validation, the promotions, recognition, the likes. But these external sources of happiness are fleeting. They don't offer lasting fulfillment. When we rely on them for our sense of worth, we give away our power to others. Real happiness comes from within, from knowing that you are living authentically and true to your own sense of purpose. It's important to ask yourself, what does success look like to you? Not based on what others expect or what society says, but based on what makes your heart feel full. Redefine success on your terms. Maybe it's not about climbing the corporate ladder, but about finding work that gives you purpose. Maybe it's not about owning a luxury car, but about building meaningful relationships. Maybe it's not about fitting into a mold, but about embracing who you truly are. By shifting our focus from external validation to internal alignment, we allow ourselves to experience a deeper, more lasting form of happiness. The kind that isn't tied to possessions or achievements, but to the fulfillment that comes from living in accordance with our deepest values. Success is not a destination. It's a journey towards being the best version of yourself, living a life that feels true and meaningful. One of the most transformative things you can do for yourself is to practice self-acceptance, to truly embrace who you are, flaws and all. It sounds simple, but in a world that often celebrates perfection, accepting ourselves fully can feel like a radical act. We are taught to hide our weaknesses, downplay our flaws, and put on a facade of constant improvement. But the truth is, self-acceptance isn't about striving for perfection. It's about acknowledging and loving yourself just as you are. We all have imperfections. It's part of being human. None of us have it all figured out, and we all have our unique struggles and challenges. But rather than seeing these imperfections as things to hide or fix, we should learn to see them as valuable parts of our story. Our flaws make us who we are. They make us relatable, compassionate, and real. If we only focused on our strengths and ignored our weaknesses, we'd be missing the beautiful complexity that makes us whole. It's important to recognize that your flaws do not diminish your worth. In fact, they add depth to your character. They are what make you unique. When you accept both your strengths and your weaknesses, you allow yourself to show up in the world as your true, authentic self. You no longer feel the pressure to hide behind a perfect image. Instead, you embrace the full spectrum of who you are, knowing that every part of you is valuable. Self-acceptance also involves letting go of harsh self-judgment. We can be our own toughest critics, constantly scrutinizing ourselves and focusing on what we lack. But imagine if we spoke to ourselves the way we would speak to a close friend, with kindness, understanding, and compassion. What if we acknowledged our challenges without labeling them as failures? What if we celebrated our progress instead of only looking at what still needs to be done? This shift in perspective can have a profound impact on how we see ourselves and how we interact with the world. When we accept ourselves fully, we unlock the power to live authentically. We stop trying to meet unrealistic standards and start living in alignment with our true values. This doesn't mean we don't strive for growth or improvement. It simply means that our worth isn't dependent on perfection. We are enough, just as we are, and this acceptance frees us to be more compassionate toward ourselves and others.